Hello, good morning, everybody. My name is Mercedes Blanco. I'm here today. Well, morning for some of you in the Americas. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, right? It's too early for me. Well, thank you for joining me all. We are going to be talking about social media, travel blogging, and all COVID related, because obviously we are living unprecedented times. So before we jump into those panels and those questions, and we will keep this very dynamic, let's go ahead and introduce these amazing people that I have joining this session with us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Jennifer, do you want to go first and introduce yourself?
Sure thing. Good morning, good afternoon to everyone joining in. I'm Jen Hambric. I'm the Digital Marketing Director for Valor Hospitality Partners. We are a global hospitality management company managing hotels in the United States, the United Kingdom, Africa, as well as Dubai and Thailand. So right now is a great time, I feel, to talk about repositioning and branding, and I'm looking forward to being on today's call.
Thank you so much. Romain.
Hi guys, I'm Romain. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for VResorts.io. We kind of produce content and distribute content, VR content for the hospitality industry. And it's quite interesting what's going on in social media, because it seems to be the only thing brand can use to maintain their brand awareness. So I'm super curious at the moment where there is a sort of reset button going on, and so it's quite interesting what's going on.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. Susanna, do you want to go next?
Yes, hello, good morning in America, and good afternoon mostly everywhere else. I'm Susanna Mander. I'm the Global Head of Brand Marketing for a few brands of Melia Hotels International portfolio, Melia Hotels and Resorts, Soul, and also the corporate brands. So we obviously have been very careful with the communication on social media, and we do have found proper, in our opinion, way of keeping the communication going in these very hard times. The most interesting part of being here, and thank you for the invitation, is that nobody really is an expert. So we're all learning by the way. So this is a sense of community in good and bad that we're all facing. So looking forward to the conversation.
Thank you so much. And we have two additional amazing guests. Kate, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. Hi, my name's Kate Irwin. I work for a company called Skift. I hope the majority of you already know who we are, but we are a media marketing and intelligence platform for the industry. So we look at thought leadership as it affects our industry and what's driving it. So happy to be here. Thanks for the invitation.
Absolutely. And last but not least,
yes, me, Regitse. I'm a content creator and a storyteller for hotels, managing Room 22 agency, which is a content and storytelling agency for especially smaller hotels, but also some chain properties. I'm also the founder of the Copenhagen Traveler, which is a travel and hotel blog founded in 2014. So I'm very much involved in the entire industry and talk a lot about media and communications and what we're gonna do next. Also, what travelers are gonna do next after the COVID-19. So I'm gonna really look forward to discussing the future trends of tourism as well today.
Wonderful. Well, as you can all see, we have such a talented people that I feel very humbled to be here moderating this panel today. We are going to definitely keep it fun, keep it open for questions. So if you have some, please feel free to share those. We are live and we will be doing our very best. Also, we want to live today with a positive mindset, with a lot of positive vibes only, because we have enough bad news, and we are all marketers. We all love what we do. We love to travel. We will travel once again, and we want to keep it that way, right? So also we will have a small game. Wait for it. Just stay with us, and I promise it's going to be fun. So let's start talking a little bit about, obviously, COVID-19. We have all of us, no matter if we are hotels, airlines, tech providers, we all have felt the consequences of this pandemic. And none of us, as Susanna was saying, we are not epidemiologists, right? We don't know what the future is bringing us. But if we know something for sure is that we all love to dream. Travel is dreaming, and we will all travel once again, and we will recover. We will come back. I don't know when, but we will come back. So in the meantime, companies, they just need to do everything in our power to be present, to be there to survive. In your opinion, what is your or other companies, travel-related, hospitality-related companies doing to survive in these unprecedented times?
I'll jump in and kick us off. What we've been seeing at Skift is that it really is survival of the fittest at the moment, and we're watching this unfold in real time. So we're looking out to the industry to assess what's going on. But what we are seeing is people are really focusing on cash flow, right? They're stripping back as they can and trying to be as stable as they possibly can, which in this scenario, being so unknown of what's going to happen next, you don't really know what state you need to be in. Do you need to be lean and asset kind of light? Do you need to be bulked up with lots of brands? It's really unknown, but definitely cost saving, both on money, assets, whatever that looks like, cash flow, what's going out, what you're spending on, but also then looking at things like hygiene, and especially in the hotel space, like cleanliness, hygiene, what are we doing to be ready for when we come back, that people are going to want to come to our hotels, to our destinations.
Wonderful. Anybody else that want to share a little bit of insights of what is our industry doing to survive?
Yeah, I can quickly chip in as well that we see quite a lot of focus on local travel, and sustainability will be even bigger as we move forward, also post-corona. People want to do something good when they start traveling again. They want to be part of something bigger, but at the same time, I think we're going to see that people will start traveling slowly, maybe in the next 3, 4, 5 months, just kind of domestic travel and local travel. That's what they're going to start. And then we're going to go further and further where we can maybe embrace international travel during 2021 again. That's my guess. But local travel and sustainability will be very big, even bigger than we've seen before.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I've started to think about where to go with an RV, which will be a first time for me. But anyway, something that I believe that we can all agree on is that marketing, communications, PR, sales, they will be the first things that will actually help us overcome this situation, right? And unfortunately, what we are seeing all over the board is that we have done nothing, right? We don't know what to expect, so we have gone silent. All of our companies, they have paused everything, basically, and they are not investing or they are not communicating. They have totally stopped their digital footprint, and most of them, they have stopped their social media presence. So how do you think that companies that are not communicating, that have stopped any sort of communication with their audience, with their fans, are going to be impacted after this?
I'll jump in here. I know from a hospitality management standpoint, this is an opportunity for us to provide transparent communication, as well as resources for our team members who, we may not be able to help out to the same extent with the resources that, a lot of our marketing departments had prior to this pandemic. But I also feel that because a lot of brands are not monetizing their efforts right now, there's real opportunity for thought leadership and visibility online for hospitality brands that I think brands can really capitalize on rather than going silent. There is a lot of ways that, you can demonstrate being adaptable and, just showcasing the fact that you're able to take on a major financial distress situation, showcase your experience, showcase what you can offer in terms of value, to travelers, brand loyalists, etc. Yeah.
I think
you all agree that it's a mistake. Just stop any marketing communications.
I think from a whole industry perspective, we saw COVID kind of sweep across the globe, right? And actually you could see where things were slowing on a region by region basis. And what we saw, if we were to kind of slice and dice our client list, was that people are pausing for roughly about 2 to 3 weeks, which is a wise thing to do, right? Let's get our ducks in a row. Let's really understand where we are. Let's understand our position and then work out our next steps forward. But I'm kind of happy to say that in the last kind of 10 days, we're seeing brands come back online, be more present, and do it in such a way that is really of the time, so that it doesn't feel tone deaf, that it is useful, and kind of open up, because as you said at the beginning, we will travel again, and depending on the variance of when that happens, we need to be ready. And this really isn't a time to be silent. We need to be connecting with that. And I think we should focus on those loyal, engaged customers, or those users, or those clients, whatever that looks like. Because when people do start to travel again, it's going to be cautiously, it's going to be with a bit of apprehension, and people are going to want to move with the brands they're familiar with. So it really isn't time to step back. People need to be pushing in a different way, in a different tone, a different message, but they still need to be part of that conversation.
Sure. Well,
And if I may jump in also, one of the, I think that there's, especially for the hotel industry, of course, that I work with, one of the key challenges was at the time of freeze was closing all the borders and international travel, and all the restrictions that, as a domino effect, as I call, happen different countries. And Melia has hotels all over the world in 4 continents and more than 30 countries. And so China, it's one of our most strategic regions for growth, for example. So China was the first one to go into quarantine, and the first one to come out. So you could see, as in Europe, everything then happened as a domino effect. One of the key operational challenges was all the existing reservations, and we have to kind of give a message of not canceling. How are we doing with prepayments? How are we doing with those reservations that were more discounted on rates that didn't allow any changes? And I think that's one of the big challenges also the airlines faced, and some of them went on a direction and then have to go back on their decision, as we know. So I believe that, going back to the cash flow situation, there was also a need of communicating, and going dark was definitely not a good thing to do, because you need also to communicate operationally what was happening with all the reservations. So we found that the first week was quite hard and quite difficult to manage, but obviously, be very empathic, and the sense of connection in this moment, it's, for us, it was key. So not going dark was like communicating, we do not feel that we should stay on your side right now. So because everybody in the world is in the same situation now. So we're all quarantined, we are at home, we're all working from home, apart from the few collective groups that we know, the sanitary industry, food and beverage in a sense, and, and deliveries and transportation. So it was operationally a need of saying, okay, we feel you, we feel the situation, we're going to help you as much as possible. In our company, we also extended, for example, with the loyalty program with Melia Rewards, we extended status for 1 extra year, which I think was a really big gift. So if I
think all of us, we were expecting the hotels, the airlines to extend theirs as well. And I was super happy when I received mine extended for a year. So Romain, I know that you will have a lot of things to add here. You also have a lot of experience with that. So what is your opinion? Romain, can you hear me? Romain, I believe that you are in silent.
Yeah, a little bit. Sorry about the connection.
No worries. Okay, we'll go back at you in a second.
Can you hear me?
We do know.
We can hear you.
Okay, cool. Sorry about that. As I was saying, we're sharing connection at home. Pretty authentic conversation. No, what I want
problems, right?
no, what I wanted to add that going dark, I mean, can be a good thing and bad thing. I mean, like from a bad thing is if you are a hotel owner, you can't keep the lights on. Obviously, you're gonna go dark, right? There is a sad reality of keeping the lights of the business, right? But if you are a small, big brand or even an hotel who can keep the lights on and don't focus on social media, there is a sort of reality about having hired marketers that are not able to actually produce content and pivot their strategy and adapt. Where I often seen, and I've done that mistake before. It's like I love fancy marketing tools as a social media manager. I like fancy tools that can make me manage multiple accounts, analyze everything. But in these kind of times, it's like where you go dark if as a marketer you're not able to produce content and shift. So if you are still realizing, oh, TikTok is a trend. No, it's not a trend. TikTok is real. There is brands are booming there. If you're not able to open your suite and be curious to switch off on TikTok, you're out. You're late on the game. So going dark, but there is also a going dark for a very good purpose. It's like I've saw Skift, for instance, they say content unavailable. So there is a sort of mental break that it's good to go dark.
No, totally agree. For instance, the problem with COVID-19 is that we don't know for how long it's going to stay with us, and we weren't prepared for it. But when we were facing other crises, like let's say a shooting, I think that everybody would understand that when there is a shooting, where there is a hurricane, you go dark on social because you're not going to post a friendly content when you have been shot just in a school around the corner, right? So you have to be careful with the kind of content that you are posting, no matter where or when, right? But with COVID-19, we are living such an unprecedented timings because we don't know how long this is going to last, that I think that I agree with all of you. I agree with you, Kate, that it was smart to wait, pause, analyze, and then restart, right? I think that we need to all get used to the fact that we are going to live like this over the next months, let's say, right? Obviously, another important thing that I believe that it's very important for all of us is that although we have gone dark, the fact that we cannot actually touch, hack, and see our friends and family has made social media even more relevant today. I don't know if you saw the news, but Mark Zuckerberg was saying that Facebook has seen 50% increase week over week on traffic. Why? Because if you think about it, the main purpose of Facebook itself is to get people closer together, right? And in this situation, there is nowhere else to go than social media to connect with other people, right? And people, they are using social media to connect with their friends, to have fun, to get information about COVID-19, also to find a mental escape, right? And they are looking for their brands to deliver messages of trust, messages that they could agree with, and that they could be entertained with as well, right? So, Susanna, are there any COVID-friendly recommendations on how brands can adapt their content? Susanna, I believe that you are on mute. I'm so sorry.
Sorry, it's. Can you hear me now? Yeah, yeah. So in the moment of first of all, we basically never went dark. I mean, we froze for maybe 2 or 3 days, just in time to organize all the operation part of the hotels, because the hotels are starting to close down, of course, by phase. So we have to manage all of the operation part. So the operation part was our reason to connect, because it was the most emergency, the highest emergency at the moment when all the borders started to close down and all the countries started to isolate. So what we actually did is analyze the emotional moment of each phase according to what it was happening. I think one of the most incredible situation that I faced as a marketer and with a global vision was, first of all, that everybody basically was in the same situation, and two, that personally and emotionally we were going through different phases every week. I don't know if it happened to all of you, but for me, like the first week looked like a month. it was so long. Seemed that so many things had happened, and every day was so dense and intense of news, information, and updates that I think we were in shock, and we were trying to adapt our lifestyle, our way of communicating, our reactions to that particular week where the shock took over. So what we did, we actually aligned all our social media agencies that were kept at a minimum time required for maintenance in this what we call freeze moment of of real marketing, with dividing the content into different phases, emotional phases. So the shock adaptation, the peak, that was when countries were starting to get into the peak of most restriction and unfortunately the bad news. And then the aftermath will be what is now coming, when the curves are flattening and more positive, everybody's becoming more positive, and we're starting to see also more travel related content from everybody, from influencers, from brands. And then a phase of rebirth and a phase of dream again. So basically, I think that this was kind of helping building content according to the emotional connection that the content would create. So again, in shock and adaptation, everybody was thinking, oh my God, I have a reservation for this summer. What am I doing? Am I losing it? I'm gonna get my money back, and air tickets as well. Then when you're in the peak, you started to say, okay, I fix my operational problem if I do have a reservation, but in the peak, what are we doing? So we're actually sharing content to help quarantine to be much more easy. So Melia, all our brands have amazing brand experiences within the hotels, of course, that we are bringing now virtually at home. So if Melia, for example, has a lot of focus on a top F&B outlets and chefs. Today there was a live session with the Torres brothers teaching how to cook torrija, which is a very specific dish for Easter that is as easy as you can make it. And they were live on Instagram, I think, just a few hours ago. And then, for example, the Melia brand that has a very much of a focus into soul matters, the claim. So everything that's touching a little bit, helping families going through the quarantine with the perfect corner in your house. So we're giving tips according to our, experiences at the hotels on how to create a relaxing corner during quarantine, because it's another challenge.
Bringing things into the new normal, right? Bringing things at home, just how to use hotel tips to use at home. So I think that is definitely a great approach. I believe that Jennifer wanted also to add something, and Kate, I'll go with you in a second.
Yeah, Susanna made a lot of great points. I think segmentation is something that I've really been honing in on for content development, and considering whenever developing an organic content strategy for social media, what is the audience here? And then also in terms of messaging, are we saying the same thing to our internal audience as our external? Are we, communicating the same thing across different platforms or across different countries? So I think being able to determine what is your target audience on each platform, and decide the best way to communicate with them from there is vital right now.
You added a very great point, and I believe that security is also something that worries that internal audience as well. Kate, please.
Yeah, I think it follows on really nicely to Jen's point that understanding those kind of audience segmentations, but also like what is at the heart of what you want to say to these guys right now, because that message has changed drastically. We're no longer saying, quick, come through our doors, we welcome you. We're actually saying, like, stay indoors, are you okay? So those kind of small tweaks, I think, with brands that already have beautiful stories and have an ethos and a mission and a dream behind it, actually that's an easy side step, right? We want our potential customers and people that are going to be coming and staying in our hotels to know that we're there for them. We understand the position they're in. So I think trust, authenticity, empathy, and also kind of opening the doors to say, like, we are in this together. I'm not speaking to you now to get your dollar or your pound. I'm speaking to you now kind of like a person to person. So adding that human voice. Which may differ to what you've been previously doing before, but yes, all the points that have been raised, but kind of thinking what is at the heart of that, because this is a real human situation.
Exactly. And just so you know, we are getting some questions. Jaser is asking more about the strategies. We will go there, Jaser, but in a second, we are going to be talking first about why social media, it's important, why we shouldn't go dark. And actually, I'm going to share my screen now, and we are going to play a little game. Let's try and find examples and do some comparison between really amazing content that I've seen in social media. So just to summarize, obviously we all agree on this: companies shouldn't go dark on social. That's the first thing we are all agreeing today, right? Obviously we understand that people is turning to social media, that they are dreaming, that they want to escape, that we need to build trust to be able to do business later, and that even now it's a very good time to be competitive. But let me ask you, do you have ready your signs, A/B options?
Yes.
Awesome, great. So for the rest of the audience that is watching us today, basically what we're gonna do, well, you can do your hand. Would love to say B is fine. That's fine. So basically, we are going to compare two different content posts on social media. And I am telling you now, you're going to see great content. So it's going to be very hard to pick. So let's see what we have here. So just the first one here, what it's showing us, it's basically, there you go. Airlines. We have Emirates and we have KLM. Basically, Emirates says, hope is seeing light in spite of being surrounded by darkness, and a really great capture. And then KLM is saying, we could use some extra love right now. And they are just kissing a little or a big plane, right? So as you can see, engagement for both is it's definitely really, really, really great. So which one do you pick, A or B? We have A, B, A, and Susanna, Romain, what do you think? I can see Susanna, B, right? Okay, so
yes,
we have a match. I am telling you, yes. Well, okay, we have a winner, B it is, but it's hard to pick, isn't it? I think that airlines, they are facing definitely challenging times. I think that it's very complicated for them, and also because of the volume and because we completely stopped traveling, right? And that they have to, one, provide information to all of those cancellations, refunds, and so on, but also communicate that they will be there for us, right? Let's go to the next example here. I believe that I wanted to show you some additional airlines. Again, KLM, they are doing a great job, and American Airlines. So American is basically showing a family just from Arizona, and they are saying that thank you to all those healthcare providers, doctors that are there supporting us, and they are humanizing the story by showing the family of this doctor that is going to fight against COVID-19. Then on the right side, option B, again, KLM, it's showing us how small planes are also important, and that maybe this is linked to the fact that eventually we won't be traveling such a big planes in the short term because we will be afraid of crowds, right? And we will travel more domestic than internationally. Who knows? But both are friendly, nice, positive. So which one do you pick? A, American Airlines, or B? Okay, so Kate couldn't pick.
No,
So
they're both great.
we have too much there. Okay, and option B and option A. Okay, so definitely I cannot pick either. Both are definitely amazing. So let's change the topic a little bit. Let's go to museums. We have the MoMA and the British Museum. The British Museum, option B is basically asking their fans to share what is it that they can see from their window by using a very beautiful art from a window view, right? So it's definitely using some similarities there. And then the MoMA is definitely capturing the love with face masks, which I believe it's definitely appropriate for COVID-19. So which one do you pick? Okay, A, B, B, A. Susanna, I need you to help me with this. Okay, so B is winning. So we are choosing the British Museum. Wonderful. Okay, this is an easy, is it? Okay, so let's go to hotels. We have Shangri-La hotels and also the Atlantis in Dubai, in the Palm, right? Shangri-La is basically asking people, who else is missing the cherry blossoms in Japan, right? So I like this because it's bringing this dreaming into everybody's minds, right? It's like, yes, we get it. We cannot be there now. We are missing the opportunity, but we want to go there in the future. And similarly, option B, the Atlantis, is sharing a very beautiful family picture of the aquarium and is asking their followers to tag who you would take there. So again, they are asking you to think about who and when in the future will you be there. So which one do you prefer, A or B? So we have 2 A's, 1 B. Susanna, Romain, which one do you pick? Complicated. Okay, Romain, I need you to help me here. We have 2 A's and 2 B's.
I'm not a big fan of any of them, actually. It's really. But no, it's just my point is like it's the same kind of content we've seen in the past for the past years of those type of brands. There is no authenticity or there is no like uniqueness again. So on those, no, but I would go for the A for loves.
Okay. No, I hear your point. I mean, we have seen in the past a lot of tag a friend, but what I like about those is that we are thinking about making people dream again, right? This is the positive mindset that I believe that both brands want to communicate, right? And then obviously I've shown you hotels, museums, big hotel chains, but also small independent hotels are doing a great job. We have 2 hotels here in the Americas, in the US. One is the Silverado Resort and Spa, and the other one is the Don Cesar. So one is in California and the other one in Florida, if I'm not mistaken. A is basically using Instagram stories about their spa facilities, but instead of showing their treatments, they are educating people with plans that are helping boosting our immune support. So definitely we are all worried about our health. So this is definitely appropriate. And then in option B, Don Cesar, for those who are unfamiliar with this hotel, the hotel is pink. That's the color of the hotel itself, right? So they are asking people to think pink, and that they are just starting to say a lot of positive messages on just to help people think positively those are days, because I believe that we are seeing enough of bad news. So they are just trying to do their part with that think picking movement. So which one do you prefer, the immune support system or the positiveness? So we have A. Wow, this is a winner. Definitely. Kudos to Silverado Resort for this. Okay, so, well, I hope that you had fun with the game. That's all I have for you. But this is actually giving me the opportunity to jump into the next question, right? We need to talk about formats and what is it that we are seeing that it's new, right? Maybe Kate, I'm sure that you from Skift can share a lot of things from new formats.
Yeah, and to be honest, I don't think anyone is reinventing the wheel. I just feel that people are leveraging different platforms or ideas or formats in a new way. So specifically from the destination space, I've 3 that stick out for me. The Faroe Islands have utilized some of the content that they already have. So this is not brand new content, but what they've done is they've transitioned it into a sense of gamification. So it really has brought it to life. Ultimately, we're all sitting at home, right? Trying to work, trying to look after the children, but there's always those hours that go on all day and you're like, okay, I'm sick of Facebook, or I've been over it 5 times, or I played this game. And actually this is kind of integrating this incredible destination like into our homes, gives you the control, and it's utilizing assets they've already got. So gamification, I'm loving that. I think we're going to see more of that for sure. Abu Dhabi have just released a culture all approach that we'll see launching in the coming weeks, where they're bringing their venues or any sightseeing aspects that they have in Abu Dhabi to life virtually. So it's bringing that kind of connectivity and closing the gap. Again, we've seen virtual before, but it's the tone in which they're bringing it. And they're still saying, like, you can come and see it when this is all over, but like feel the love and come and see it now. And the last one is a campaign that Greece ran, which is called #Greece from Home. And I love what they've done here because they've really encompassed everything. They've looked at kind of their own people that are in that destination. They've looked at people who might be traveling there, who might be working there or going there for work. And they've created this like experience Greece from home. So you can do all sorts on this platform. You can look at videos, you can go and virtually have a look around destinations. You can learn Greek, you can learn Greek cooking. And I just think it's a really genius way to kind of bring it to life. And actually it's super simple. This isn't, again, we're not reinventing the wheel, we're just utilizing what we have on board. So there are 3 destinations I think are doing it well. And if we move outside of travel, even someone like Pizza Express, for example, they're utilizing Twitter at the moment to share their recipes. And it's not something they've been proactive about doing ever before, but actually you see this has caused a spike of people trying out their recipes at home in their own kitchen. So somehow they've managed to work and get their products within our 4 walls of our house. I think it's genius, and I think we're going to see more of that as well.
Yeah, no, I definitely, I've seen 2 things that I love. The one, I saw it yesterday, and it was Spain just launched a new campaign, call it Spain Will Wait For You, which I believe is very appropriate. And also, I don't know if there is any DoubleTree by Hilton travelers here, but I love their cookies, and they released their cookie recipe. And well, maybe my belly is not agreeing with me right now because all I'm doing is cooking and eating, but definitely it's great. So Romain, I'm curious because obviously we were talking about that content from the hotels. Have you seen anything that has really blown up your mind, or do you have any new format or campaign that you've seen that you love?
In terms of formats, it's like we look at a lot of brands in our company, hospitality brands, what they're doing. So we spy a little bit, but we also advise. And one key concept that we are telling hospitality brands, it's the social first content style. But really in terms of format, I'm not talking about themes. If you go for yoga teaching classes or education and etc. I'm already talking about the format style, right? And the social first content is really something we provide. So the social first content, it's really made of 2 ideas, which is born for socials and executed for socials. So it's really 2 different concepts. So when you are talking about like, if you are an hospitality brand and you create content born for social, you're really playing on things that have been created within social media, and brands need to jump on this in a smart way. I'm pretty sure everybody's gonna know that, but like the bucket challenge is the perfect example of born in socials, right? Okay, it's a bit old school, but now as of today we have the t-shirt challenge, right? And I did it. I'm not gonna nominate any of you, but I did it. And it's kind of like fun. So anything born on social, brands need to jump on it. So that's the born on social. The execute for social is very important. That's what we're telling our customers is when you create content, it's not this marketer who's going to call a media agency or let's say, let's do a movie of our hotel and then you receive the video and you have to blast that on social, on Instagram, on stories, and etc. No, execute for social is you have a piece of content, and you really adapt that piece of content with all the functionalities of that social media platform. So when I see stories with just the same square image of a post, it's not gonna. You need to play on the functionalities of each features. That's something I would advise.
Stories, and definitely something that we haven't mentioned is that Instagram has launched several cause stickers, right? Like thanks health heroes or stay home, thank you honor. And we've also seen a lot of hashtags or slogan campaigns using like hashtag dream now, hashtag travel later. Of course, the postpone, do not cancel, buy now, dream later, choosing strong. So we've seen definitely initiatives that are adapting through Instagram or other platforms. Like Pinterest also has launched a today's post just with recommendations, like it was mentioning before, or Susanna, when Susanna was mentioning how the hotel is giving advice of things that people could do at home. Those are definitely trends that we've seen in social. Regitse, I would like to go to you. I'm sure that you have a lot of things to add, and also you are a real expert on travel blogging, and I like to see to hear your input here.
Yeah, speaking of the whole streaming on LinkedIn, for example, which I'm a big fan of, this whole mindfulness wellness wave is really rolling over people. They need to kind of feel better. And the hotels are actually making a great job in making them feel better. So we're kind of connecting in a real mindful way here, and I really like that. There's an example with a European hotel chain called Sur Hotels, who are kind of live streaming their yoga sessions. We have examples of hotels live streaming meditation sessions, and I think that's beautiful to connect with your guests on a deeper level like that. So I definitely see that we're switching the focus from just being a hotel providing a set of specific services on location to actually connect with the guest in a very mindful way. I really like that. So that's another format we're going to see more of in the future, I think. Sports, wellness, mindfulness, all these things integrated in the hotels via their social media, for example. As for travel blogging, that's a whole different niche. Coming from that world as well, myself, I know a great deal about it, and obviously that whole sector is going to change rapidly. It's already changing rapidly. We see travel bloggers jumping out of business, obviously, because there is no business to be had at the moment. But also the travel bloggers, they need to kind of change their perspective of what to do next. Like what can they offer? What can they contribute with of value for both the hotels and their followers going forward post-COVID. And I think it's going to be very interesting to see what travel bloggers can actually contribute with coming up now, instead of writing, social media, we know that, but also adding value in the form of photo editing courses, writing classes. So they have to also change their offerings. So it's going to be a very different 2021 going forward. It's going to be different than what we've seen before. Absolutely.
Thank you so much. Actually, we're just leaving. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. I just wanted to make a point on Regitse's comment, because I think it's completely appropriate. That the experiences and all this emotional connection through different areas and of mindfulness and well-being 360 is the core vision of the Melia Hotels and Resorts brand. So we are actually working on that too. And this week we're going.
Oops, I believe that we lost Susanna for a second.
Release content. So trying to be very useful, bringing value, but bringing value in a very humble way according to the emotional moment. So now travel blogging, for example, we had a little bit of a thing last week when for some reason one post was automatically uploaded and it was not revised, and it was an Ibiza post on holidays. Well, the first comment was, why do you show holidays if we cannot bloody go? Which was coming from the UK, of course. That was in a moment of frustration last week with the peak. So now the rebirth and I think we are in aftermath. So how we really inspire on travel, we have to be careful because now we still don't know when we're going to travel again. So it can also bring to a frustration in terms of, wow, I would love to visit the world again, or we're bringing the world back into your house, or virtual tours of the world that we will do as well. But in the right moment where we're going to be closer to seeing the opening of the borders. So that's a little bit of the theme of strategizing the moment and bringing experiences at home now that we're all at home, and then inspire a little bit later, even if a lot of brands are already trying to inspire. But then I think we haven't talked about all, I think there was a question on how the travel industry is helping the situation. I think I saw on the panel. So it's not only a social media strategy right now that we want to talk about, but also how we're bringing value to the situation. Like, for example, offering hotels as hospitals that, we did in Spain and in Europe, like 13 hotels are now, helping, with the volume of necessity in the cities. But it's a way of being sustainable and doing the right thing and communicating in a very organic way, in a very natural way. And I think there's still a whole big attention on the sanitary sector and the whole healthcare that has been kind of leading the situation right now. So it's a way of connecting also with these groups that are now, and it's a way of bringing hope, because all the doctors and the nurses and the healthcare workers are bringing hope and are bringing a support. So it's a positive way of recognizing them in this moment.
Agree 100%.
So we're going to launch.
Actually, it's linked to that question that Jaser asked before. He was asking about what is it that hotels are doing right now on the business and on the operational side, just to improve their strategy, right? Like he was mentioning that Accor was providing hotel rooms for their use as working offices with high-speed internet. So because Romain, I mean, we have the same. We are all sharing the internet speed connections, and we are having those sort of issues. Here in New York, I've seen how Four Seasons has become the hotel for the healthcare providers. Jennifer, do you have any strategies, or Jason, Susanna? But Jennifer, I'll go with you first. Do you have any strategies that you have seen that hotels, in particularly, are currently activating to support the current environment?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about redeveloping content, segmentation, and the phases of all of this. There are so many opportunities for us to provide resources for our local communities. For instance, some of the chef-driven restaurants that are at some of our hotels have partnered with some of the food vendors to provide community outreach and, just helping people who are furloughed. In addition to that, I think Regitse made a really good point about how people are going to have to prove their value, particularly travel bloggers. They may have to turn it around and show some demonstrations, lead some opportunities, teach people how to do things. I know too, in sales, brand pivoting, we're hosting happy hours with some of our sales clients. We're staying in touch with them to, ensure that we're going to get through this together. We're still here for you. But just ultimately, I think this entire period is about embracing change and doing so in a strategic manner. I know a lot of the content that I've developed just during this time period has not only been as a guide for people who are not accustomed to having to develop social media strategies, or, who don't know about writing for search engines. There's just a lot of places where hotels and, just different leaders in the marketing realm can really help out right now.
Well, definitely, we all have been talking about what we are doing now and what is it that we need to do into this upcoming future, because the recovery isn't as far as of what it seems. Hopefully, right? And although we don't know, we don't have that crystal ball that will allow us to know when this will be over. We know that it will be over, right? And we need to start thinking about what's it that we need to do next to help ourselves recover even better. I think that there is a lot of work that we should be doing, not only social media related, but digital related, just website optimization, digitalization, all of that, right? So let's talk a little bit about what is the plans that we can expect or that we should be thinking of for Q3 and Q4. What needs to be updated, or what strategies should be the main ones? Kate, do you want to take this one? Oops, I believe that we'll all Kate. So we'll be back in a second, I promise. Okay, this is live, guys. I mean, what can I tell you? So who wants to talk a little bit about Q3, Q4, and strategies in the upcoming months?
Well, guys, I mean, I have an open microphone, and I can try to give a little bit of a sense of what we have seen and what we are evaluating. Business travel to be definitely the first segment to come along in the rebirth. Let's call it rebirth period. You know, that's how we define it. And you know, it will be most of a necessity travel. So there's going to be preparation on the operational side of how we showcase and we display proper hygiene and security measurements at the hotels, because at the hotels there's going to be people getting together. There's going to be people talking to staff. So there's going to be a lot of adjustment to be done for the first phase. And it seems that we're going to live with masks for a while and potentially gloves, hopefully not gloves for long, because at the end they're more dangerous than not wearing them, apparently. But I think there's going to be a lot of adaptation, and there's going to be changes also in the period that people are going to take their holidays. So the customers are going to take their holidays, in terms of they're thinking about pushing now for example, the Easter processions later on, or like crazy things that we would never have imagined, you know.
Easter without raining. I would be definitely happy.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I am hoping that I didn't scare you.
They're talking about extending the summer season. Have you heard that too? So it's everything is going to be quite interesting. But for example, yesterday our Shanghai office went back to work. So it depends also on the flow of the various state of mind and state of action of the different states and regions and countries all over the world. Because I think now America is unfortunately on peak. We are slowly. Spain is going, is flattening down. Italy is starting to soften a little bit, their restrictions, very little. But it's very weird, because now they're talking in Italy about, summer holidays. Summer, I think, is the big pain for everybody, right? I think it's a common for leisure. I think all of us are missing the holiday feeling of be able to be on a beach this summer.
We don't need a vacation from staying home. That's for sure. So, Regitse, do you have any comments on strategies, on things that we should be doing from the communication point of view in social media, blogging, and so on?
But I can only say that we should keep up the good spirit and the positive vibes, what people want to hear now and in 2 months, in 4 months, in 6 months. We should keep connecting on an emotional level as much as we can with the potential travelers now in the future. And I think they're already going in that and learn as we go, so to speak.
Yeah.
Am I going through, or?
Yeah, I think that you're. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I believe that we are. Let's mute. Make sure. All right. Okay, better now? Got it. Awesome. Okay. So maybe this is about time. We only have 4 minutes left, and I just want to close this just thinking about what opportunities may be laying ahead of us coming from this crazy times that we are living, right? Let's talk a little bit about the opportunities that are in front of us that maybe we are not seeing right now, but that are definitely there. Anybody wants to take that final closing statement on what opportunities are ahead of us on social media?
I'm back. I just popped out. No, we've nearly done an hour. So the fact that we're getting into these problems at the end, like, it's all good grace. I think the opportunities here are really to get into a place where you can be flexible, you can move quickly, and you have a crisis strategy. And that's going to be different for everybody. And it's going to be different whether you're looking at it from a commercial aspect or a social media or marketing. But like, this is our opportunity to go, okay, we've never seen this. This is how we move. This is what we've learned. And there's definitely opportunities. And just because as we move out of this COVID phase, all these amazing initiatives that have come out of this, or the improvements that we've made to our business to be leaner, to be quicker, whatever that looks like, just when COVID is not here anymore, doesn't mean we have to drop all of that. We can continue to build on that as a foundation for a much stronger future. And the reality is, I'm sure down the line we'll see something we've never seen before again. So how do you make your business tough, ready, and really established? So then when we get into this, you're ready for it and you're going to come out the other end stronger.
Thank you so much, Kate. And I couldn't agree more. I always say that it took us maybe 10, 15 years to talk about digitalization, and we needed COVID-19 to be really, really, really digitalized, right? So let's embrace that. Let's embrace all of this. I think that this was such a great panel. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining me today. You made my work moderating you super easy. You are all amazing. Thank you so much. I hope that you also had fun with this little game that I put for all of you here. And I hope that we can start this again anytime soon in the future. And I believe that this will remain somehow in the cloud, right? Through Women in Hospitality and Travel. But thank you so much. A real pleasure. Stay strong. We will get through this better together. We will survive.
We will travel again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye. Bye.